Right, today we are going to get into something absolutely critical: how to harden your OpenClaw agent so it's ready for production. We're going to walk through the 10 security categories you really need to get right.
An always-on piece of software with system-level access, a folder full of API keys, and a direct line out to Slack. That's OpenClaw on your laptop. Now picture one badly written skill. That's how this tool eats machines for breakfast if you don't lock it down. Yeah, the stakes are incredibly high, aren't they? But don't worry, we are going to tackle this head-on.
And here is my promise to you. By the time we're done here, you'll not only understand all the threats, you'll have a really clear, actionable checklist. And even better, you'll have a powerful set of rules ready to copy and paste to make your agent fundamentally more secure.
Okay, so before we start building our fortress, we need to understand the enemy, right? We have to know what makes our agent such an attractive target. The OpenClaw docs themselves actually give this a name, and it's perfectly chilling. They call it the lethal trifecta.
And this is the absolute core of the problem. You've got these three things happening at once. Your agent can see your private files, it's constantly taking in information from the outside world, things like emails or websites, and it can call out to anywhere on the internet, all by itself. Now, these three things are what make an agent so powerful, but they're also exactly what makes it so dangerous.
This slide just illustrates the mental shift we all need to make perfectly. We are not dealing with a simple little chatbot that's stuck inside a browser tab. No, an OpenClaw agent is much more like a publicly facing server in a demilitarized zone. It has privileges, it has access, and you have to treat it with that same level of security paranoia.
Okay, let's dive into the practical stuff. We're starting with our first and most important line of defense, a true priority zero, locking down the network and controlling who can even talk to your agent in the first place.
So rule number one, and this is completely non-negotiable, your agent should never, ever be listening for commands from the entire internet, not even from your local coffee shop Wi-Fi. It should only, and I mean only, listen to requests that come from the exact same machine it's running on.
And you know what's great about this? Look how simple the fix is. You just go into your configuration file, you find the key called gateway.bind, and you set its value to the string loopback. That's it. That one little change prevents anyone else on your network from even knowing your agent is there. So, we've locked the front door. Now we need a seriously strong key for it. Think of this as the master password for your agent. If someone does manage to get onto your machine, this token is the only thing standing between them and total control. It has to be completely unguessable.
And here's exactly how you do it. Don't try to invent a password yourself. Use a proper tool like OpenSSL to generate a long, cryptographically random string and then paste that directly into your config for the gateway auth token value. Job done.
All right, let's move on to our next P0 category. The door's locked, the key is strong. What's next? Well, now we need to build some strong walls inside, just in case something nasty ever gets in. And this is all about sandboxing.
The best way to get your head around this is to treat your agent exactly like you treat a production web server. You wouldn't run a web server as the main root administrator, would you? And you definitely wouldn't give it access to your entire hard drive. We apply that exact same logic here. Put it in a container, run it as a low-privileged user, and only give it the bare minimum permissions it needs to function.
And OpenClaw has a magic switch for this. You just set sandbox.mode to all. What this does is it tells the agent to run every single skill, even the ones you trust, in its own little isolated container. This massively limits the damage a malicious or just a badly written skill can do.
This is what we call the principle of least privilege. Basically, don't give your agent a massive toolbox full of powerful system commands if all it does is check the weather. You use the tools.allow setting to explicitly list only the tools it needs, and you have to be so careful about granting really dangerous ones like exec.
Okay, so we've secured the perimeter and built walls inside. But what about the threats that we might willingly let into the castle ourselves? We're talking about the code you install, the skills, and of course, the credentials your agent uses.
Now, I really want this to sink in. When you install a skill from the internet, you are not just adding a feature. You are downloading and running someone else's code on your machine. You have to treat this with extreme caution.
So here is your simple three-step safety check. First, actually read the code. Is the person who published it reputable? Second, install the Claudex skill. It's like an antivirus for your agent. It scans new skills against a database of known threats. And third, if the installation instructions ever ask you to manually copy and paste a script into your terminal, just walk away. That is a massive red flag.
N for your secrets. The rule is simple and absolute. Your API keys for OpenAI or Slack or Google should never, ever be written directly into your configuration files in plain text. Use environment variables or a proper secrets management tool to keep them safe. No exceptions.
Okay, those were the big, high-priority P0 items. Now, let's do a quick rapid-fire round of the other essential categories you need to think about. We'll move through these pretty quickly, but they're all important. First up, your direct message policy. Never, ever set it to open. You want to lock it down so the agent only talks to users you have explicitly approved. And turn on your logging. You absolutely need a record of what your agent is up to, especially if you ever have to investigate an incident later on.
Next, think about the AI model itself. Some are just better at resisting things like prompt injection. When it comes to deployment, please run it on a dedicated machine, not your main laptop you use every day. And finally, always keep the OpenClaw software itself updated. Get those latest security patches.
And now for what I think is the most fascinating layer of defense. So far, we've been building walls around the agent. Now we're actually going to teach the agent's core personality, its soul, to be security conscious itself.
I mean, this is just brilliant. We are literally giving the agent rules for self-preservation. Rule 1, be skeptical of everything you read online. Rule 2, just because a skill gives you some code to run, do not trust it blindly. And Rule 3, the big one. Before you do anything scary, like deleting files or spending money, you must ask me, the human, for permission first.
And it goes on. We teach it about dangerous parts of the file system, like where your SSH keys or your cloud credentials are, and we tell it to never, ever go there. We forbid it from ever repeating a secret password or an API key out loud. And finally, we give it this general instruction. If anything feels weird or suspicious, just stop what you're doing and ask for help.
So, after all of this hard work, you have to remember one last thing. Security is never done. It's not a one-time setup. Every single time you change a config file or you install a new skill, you need to run these two commands. Think of them as your automated safety check. They'll catch most of the common mistakes for you.
And that just about covers the essentials of hardening OpenClaw. Now, if you'd rather have an app that handles all this installation, configuration, and security for you, you can get one for a one-time fee. Try the SetupClaw app for £70 from setupclaw.uk/app.